Please don't let this be black kids. Please don't let it be my people. Please, please, please. I don't even want to look at this. There's going to be some things I can show, some things I won't be able to show because of how YouTube runs things. You know, the news, the literal news, like Fox, CNN, whoever, ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all allowed to show certain stuff without having complications on their channel. Okay? So, just so you guys know that. I heard about this. Someone was like, yo, you didn't hear about it? And I was like, no. So, let's take a look at this and see exactly what happened and why. So I tell you this, when I grew up, where I grew up, when I grew up, in that point of time in history, you didn't mess with somebody's mom. You know, someone's mom or dad showing up was your sign to leave. Was your sign to leave the kid alone. In the rarest occasions, there might be a situation with somebody's parents, grandparent, somebody will say, all right, now y'all get out of here. And then, you know, maybe everybody all rowdy. And you might hear at least one person. It's always a guy. It's never a girl. Say, oh, shut up. You might get that type of disrespect. But that was rare. Let me check this out.
So outraged in Chicago after video captures a mother and her 9-year-old son being harassed and then badly beaten by grade school children while walking near a school. We talked to two leaders of that Chicago community in just a moment, but first, let's go to Mike Tobin live there with the details. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Parents and frankly people all over Chicago are now kind of horrified and outraged at this video that's not going viral. It has gone viral of a mother and her 9-year-old son who were mobbed and beaten by a group of school-age bullies. Now, the video is a bit brutal, so be ready for that, but it shows this mother and the aggressiveness of the kids increasing as Korshwanda Hatter tries to protect her son. Finally, this mob of youngsters started to strike Korshwanda and her 9-year-old son. They were both knocked to the ground, and the beating continued.
I know some grown folk that would have beat the living hell out of every single one of them kids for jumping on them and their children. Like, they wouldn't have cared. They'd be like, kids or not, we defending ourselves. You're done. Stomping him. Oh my
She says her
God.
son had been bullied at. She says her son had been bullied at school for 2 years, and the school did nothing to protect him. So she showed up to walk her kids home. Now, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson did say, he put out a statement on X that he was deeply disturbed, and we should not attempt to normalize this type of senseless violence. Chicago police put out a statement saying both victims were transported to Trinity Hospital in serious condition. No one is in custody at this time. The Area 2 detectives are investigating. And Illinois State Senator Willie Preston said this video is a symptom of something that's been going on for a long time.
You know what I don't like when I scrolling through anywhere, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and I see these videos of people acting up. And over here in America, at least the videos that I see of people acting up, they're black, white, Hispanic. It's very rare that I see someone Asian acting up, but you do see that from time to time, and it usually is overseas. Like they acting up over there, wherever they're at. But you know what I don't like when people see stuff and they're like, the usual suspects. You know, like they're letting their like, I feel like they're letting their racism bleed out because, like I said, every single time I see people acting over here, they're black, white, or Hispanic. And it be like other people pointing the finger. They're all pointing the finger at each other. You know what I'm saying? There are stereotypical crimes that happen. If you say certain crimes, you immediately get a picture in your mind. Certain races are known for specific crimes, even though all races do all types of crimes. Specific races are known for certain crimes. It just is what it is. And I don't like that. Everybody needs to clean their house. Everyone's culture has a problem. Every single one of them has problems that they need to fix. Some are worse with some than with others. Some are non-existent with certain ones that other ones have. But clean your own house and stop pointing the finger, because we all have a job to do as cultures and communities to clean them up.
That the kids have not been held accountable and the parents have not been held accountable for the actions of their children. Guys, back to you.
No one's been held.
Right.
Man, look.
Thanks so much. So our next guests know this family very well. Chicago Councilmember Joseph Williams met with the mom after the attack, and Pastor Corey Brooks, founder of Project Hood, knows the boy who attends his after-school and summer programs. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining the program. Pastor, this is something that you have been working with for years now, trying to stop nonsense like this with our young.
Yeah, you got to instill this respect in the children. And I don't, it starts with the parents. It truly does start with the parents and how they discipline and what they teach them. And I even heard that there's like some people out there saying, basically defending it. Basically saying like it wasn't nothing. Of course. And it stereotypically is who you would think it was. And I'm just like, man, come on. I was listening to a video about this the other day. And Corey Holcomb was talking about it. He was like, I think he said he's from Chicago. And he said he grew up where it went down. But you didn't mess with nobody's mom. You didn't do this stuff.
Young people, what's going on?
Well, unfortunately, this is the cycle that we continue to see in the city of Chicago, where violence is so rampant and parents are being held unaccountable. And that's the reason why I'm walking across America, trying to get people to wake up in our urban areas so they can understand the magnitude of the issues that we're faced with every single day. Chicago is just a microcosm of what's going on across America. These young people are unruly. They have no moral compass. And we need organizations to really work hard to make sure we change the direction of our neighborhoods. If we're ever going to change the trajectory of our young people, we got to catch them early. We got to continue to do the work. But the tragedy is, in Chicago right now, we're facing some devastation that has been going on for years, and we need to get a handle on it.
This is what
Quietly save your money and get the hell out of Dodge. That's what I'd be doing. Listen, a lot of these parents that got the money to save up and get their kids Jordans and these video games and these phones and all this stuff, all the best clothes, a lot of them parents, and they're in the middle of all this havoc. Let me tell you something. Save up as long as it takes and get out of Dodge. Leave. Go somewhere safer.
the mother had to say about this incident. Let's play it.
I'm trying to get justice for my son. They fought my son, they hit my son first, all in his face. Then they dragged me in the grass and pulled my little baby hair.
She sound woozy. Like she got, like they knocked her in the head a little bit too many times.
We haven't
She need to
held
get
these
checked.
kids accountable. We haven't held parents accountable. No mother should be that helpless and be targeted by children inside of her own community.
Councilman, where is the fear and respect? I remember growing up, we were afraid of the neighbors because we knew that they was going to get us, and then our parents was going to get us when we got home as well. None of that respect seems to exist anymore, Councilman.
Yeah, now I don't know where he grew up, but I know my parents said that, back in the old days, if you got caught doing something. Like the neighbor will whoop you behind and send you home, and then your parents will whoop you. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, that wasn't happening. Okay, you wasn't getting, and I feel like I'm older than him. That wasn't happening. Like, it's like, don't touch my child. Tell me what he did, and I'll take care of it. That's the age that I grew up in. But now, as things are going, things are just worse and worse. So where the parents don't even do nothing about it. You know what I mean? That was starting to happen at certain points when I was getting older. I mean, when I was growing up.
Yeah, you know what?
You gotta remember, I grew up during the gangster rap time to when that was introduced. And it influenced I feel like gangster rap influenced half or more of us to behave a specific way. The young men and the young women. And I saw it happen and totally destroy them as they got older. The habits that they took on. You know, the drinking, the smoking, the cussing, the fighting, the dealing drugs, the being a little bit too loose on both sides. You know what I mean? Having babies out of wedlock, all that stuff. And it didn't all come from that. But I remember growing up during that time and seeing people change. Guys that I knew that were nice guys, all of a sudden needed to be hard, needed to be fighting all the time. Guys got in trouble for robbing this person, doing this, that, and that. You know, like I know some guys, I know a few that were taken out by cops. I knew people that went to prison for robberies, for other stuff, for dealing, people that was on the run. And so many of them, it started with them being influenced by the gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? Music is so much of an influence. Even I tried acting hard a couple of times in my life. I always tell y'all this over the years. But I didn't feel good. And people thought something was wrong with me. It was wrong with you, man. You all right? Yeah, I'm all right. It's like this acting stoic and tough. This ain't just for the birds. This is an act. There's no way. No. It was like both times it lasted for like half the school day. I was in high school. I was like, this ain't for me. They can continue to do this. I'm gonna be me. Sorry. Gotta be happy-go-lucky Tyrone, smiling, having a good time. So, yeah, I grew up during that time, and so many dudes from the movies, from the gangster rap to movies like, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Juice, Strapped, Belly. Just a lot of movies back then. Like, they influenced them so much. I'm just like I'm seeing it happen. Like, I love superhero movies. You don't see me trying to jump off a building and fly. You don't see me dressing up in crime fighting uniform and going out in the streets trying to save people. But they're dressing up as the gangsters, trying to be tough, hurting people, stealing, destroying their community, cussing, fighting, drinking, smoking. All the stuff attached to it, Maybe because it's easier to do compared to being a superhero. Who knows? But, I wasn't influenced in that way,
We agree. I think we've gone away from that, and we have to get back to those days. I think no mother and child, or children rather, should have to experience something so traumatic to look at that video and to see you guys replay it. It's a horrifying video. I mean, it shows the disrespect. No child should ever feel comfortable putting their hands on an adult. And
I just had it. I'm just thinking, I'm like, if I was that age and some kids put their hands on my mom at that point. See, because I was an aggressive child when I was younger. I didn't back down from anybody. However, over time, because of me getting into those spats here and there, and the way my mom disciplined old Southern style, I was more afraid of her than I was of the kids. So what happened was, I don't know at what grade it happened, but it was probably around 3rd to where she started to kind of try to weed the aggression out of me. And I was more afraid of being on punishment or getting a whooping for fighting or getting into something and defending myself. You know what I'm saying? So I found ways to passively, just let things go with bullies. You know what I'm saying? And I was bullied a lot, more verbally than anything. Way more verbally than anything. Like, nobody put their hands on it. It was so rare. I might have been pushed maybe a couple of times by somebody or something like that, but it never, and I was always afraid of getting into fights because of her. But I just know that if that had happened, I did everything I could to whoop every single one of them. You know what I mean? If that had happened, it wouldn't have been, trust me, just like I said. But anyway, that was a lot of kids. I'd have went down swinging, but I feel bad for that little boy. Looked like he was holding on to his mom. She fell, he fell, and anything. That's a whole lot. But what I'm basically saying, the timidness that she bred into me would have been dropped at that point, because I'd have turned into, you know what I mean?
As Senator Preston said, and many have said it, is that this has gone on for so long.
I picked up something, right? And been swinging.
The has come to the school and talked about this, and nothing had been done about it. It had not been addressed. And the thing about it is that, I was glad to be there to be a support to that family and to help them through the process. But this is so much bigger than just that school. This is happening throughout the Chicago public school system. Many children are being bullied, and we have to put measures in place and make sure that those parents' voices are being heard and that those children...
It's funny, when I was younger, the quote-unquote cooler kids were the ones that did the bullying. What's interesting in this social media time is that, quote-unquote, the cooler kids do the bullying, but I feel like the nerds and the geeks do more of it. Because usually the nerds, specifically the nerds because they're socially awkward, they don't have the courage or the gall to do something like that publicly. But because the internet gives them that shield, covers them, it gives them a mask, they can get online and say anything they want, they do it more. They act out more. Just go to Twitter. Type in any person's name that you know that's got a following and see what comes up. See how many of them show their real face. They're all complete cowards. 99% of the internet bullying you see are done by complete cowards. They're afraid to show their face because they know what's happening and they can't take the bullying once it turns on them.
Children's voices are being heard, because if not, this can really overspill into something even bigger, I believe.
It's so true, Councilman, and it's already spilling into the streets outside of the school. Pastor, I want to get your comments on this repeat offender in Chicago with a lengthy rap sheet. He's accused of setting a woman on fire while they're on the train.
I heard about
So this is the type of leadership that we have in Chicago. We have children who are being held unaccountable, and we also have criminals who are being set free. Criminals who are being allowed to wreak havoc on the streets of Chicago. That's one of the reasons why we have so much violence. That's one of the reasons why we have so much recidivism.
Remember when that other dude did it?
That's one of the reasons why we are experiencing the type of atmosphere of violence that we have in Chicago. These individuals are not being held accountable, and then you have these policies that are being put in place by our legislature and by our government that sometimes help the criminals more so than help the victims. And if we continue to go down this cycle with the leadership that we have in place, we're going to continue to see our community go in a downward spiral. We're going to continue to be...
I'll tell you this, no matter what color they are, they need to start doing something about these criminals that have been arrested 80 times and still on the street. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are y'all doing about this? Nothing?
laughing stock of America. We're going to be, it may look like we're one of the best cities or voted one of the best cities externally, but internally we all know the serious issues that we have inside of Chicago, and it all falls and rises on leadership.
Councilman, I'm already over time, but I have to ask you this question. We know how Chicago is run. We know how Illinois is. It's all blue. Is it time to explore something else? Because something is not working. And there's only one side that's in charge right now.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this. I'll say there's no problem with us being a blue state. I represent that. But what I will say is that we have to make sure we're being intentional and we're putting the resources where we need to put them at. We got to invest into those nonprofits that are on the ground doing the work. We got to make sure we're
vote blue no matter who.
So our children can have someone to play, and we got to put the investment where it needs to go. Some of those things that you're saying, mental health issues, we got to really invest the money and put it into people. And when we see that, we see a greater Chicago, a greater community, and greater people.
I'm all for investment, but I want the bad guys to not be able to go into those centers as well when people are trying to get help. Councilman, Pastor, thanks so much for joining the program. So outrage in Chicago after...
All right. Good Lord, man.
Video captures a mother and her 9-year-old...
All right. Post a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed my thoughts, hit the like button, subscribe, and share.